Hello, lovely people. Quite often I'm asked in my little Etsy shop, um, why, how is so much Native American jewelry in Germany? May sound a little bit strange for the Americans, but to explain it, I explained it so many times, so I'm a little bit lazy, and yeah, I thought of making a video about it, and that's easier because I can share it. So, um, the interest in Native Americans started quite early here in Europe and even in Germany. So even in the early Victorian times, with going more and more people going over, immigrating to the United States, you had everybody had a relative in North America, in the United States. So the people were interested in what happened over there, and they were reading a lot of books, novels, whatever, like Gastecker and uh, Cooper, um, and even then, these were the forefathers, I would say, in the early Victorian times, and then more and more authors, Buffalo Bill dime novels popped up, and in this also Carmine novels popped up, and so a lot of people were reading these dime novels, and it's, as I said, an interest in the what happened to family members, to neighbors, whatever, that immigrated to the United States. There was a real interest in what happened and what happened to them, maybe, possibly. So a lot of people were reading these dime novels about, and it was a little bit of a dream coming true, to even not going directly themselves to the United States, but as I said, there was an interest there, and so a lot of people were dreaming about going over, but did not have the money, or maybe were afraid to do so. So reading these dime novels, each and everybody could do. So, and they did quite often and really a lot. The point was that other than the literature and over there in the United States, as I said, Karl, he was a German novelist, and actually he's not really writing, was not really writing a story, a Native American story, but he was a Christian author, and he the positive thing he had in his stories were that his main character Winnetou was a positive hero. It was positively seen. It's totally different than what happened in the same time in the United States. So in the literature in the United States. So we had the positive Native American hero here, and over the time these Carmine novels sometimes disappeared a bit, and in the 1960s somebody came and made some movies with these stories. So Wild West stories. I mean, the Americas and the United States had their John Wayne stories, whatever, but they had no positive Native American hero. Here in Germany, we had also Wild West, but positive Native depiction in these movies. So, sounds a little bit strange, but that's as it is, and this was all everywhere shown off, and these movies were really, really popular. They are not actually Native American stories, but they had a positive Native American hero. Yeah, and over the time went by, and in the 1990s, Kevin Costner came with his Dancing with Wolves, and because there were such a long history of knowing of Native heroes, native people. The people always read things about, books about. This was common knowledge at that time. And then, as I said, Dancing with Wolves came up in the 1990s. And this was a little bit a reawakening of this conception of the positive native hero. And it was really interesting because it really popped up here, and it was everybody had to see this movie, and even several times, and it was really hitting Germany like a bomb, and that was a really crazy thing because at that time in the 1990s, we still had our Winnetou movies waving around the country, but this popped really up, and the point was why it was so developing, and this mindset is because people had seen the love in that went into the Dancing with Wolf movie, and it was really interesting to see this. And when I get these questions from people in my Etsy shop, then it's really crazy because these people seem not to have seen this period, this time. And this was really interesting because I realize I'm old. So I think it's a good thing to tell about this story, because with this movie, this main interest in Germany in native culture really exploded. And I can remember times in the 1990s where you could go to nearly every town in Germany that was a little bit bigger. You had a store there, a jeweler or whatever, that was selling Navajo crafts, real, not genuine. I mean, not. I don't. Later on, a lot of copies popped up from the Philippines and Thailand and wherever, and this was not the case in the 1990s because it was so new that they imported here tons of native jewellery. Some were Southwest jewellery, made in the style of, but there was also a lot of genuine made items. And I can remember that going to a trade fair. I was a schooler at that time. I was in school, and so I did not have the money I wanted to have because I'm interested in that topic since the 90s. So since it was one of this wave who came from this movie, and also from the interest and to be interested in that topic. So I can remember of going to a trade fair to, I think it is in Essen, it's Equitana, it's a horse fair, and they had America as partner country on this trade fair. And I can remember the time, and they had halls full of native jewelry, original native jewelry, and traders coming over from the United States. It was crazy as hell, because there were halls full of huge brooches and squash blossoms and whatever you dream about. And I was later on, I was in the United States, and I have never seen such a mass of items that we were exposed to back then at that trade fair, and even on other trade fairs, mainly Western riding combinations of fairs, whatever, had these mainly these stalls with these native jewelry. But as I said, it was exceptional, and there was a lot of traded, and there was a lot of interest, and there was a lot of buying of native jewelry at that time in Germany. So it was stunning how much of an impact this movie had in even as far away from the United States as Germany. So there was a real impact, and I mean it meant also a lot of revenue coming to native artists in the 1990s from places so much away like Germany. So it was really interesting, and from that time, from this, what happened back then in the 1990s, there was so much jewelry is still here around, and from time to time I still can buy some old stock that's sleeping somewhere in deep trunks of former traders of these native jewelry. It's a lot of hunting. It's not so often that you come across it, but it's really interesting that it's still there, and I still do profit from what was back then in the 1990s. So that's how I get some of the jewelry that I sell away in my Etsy store, and that I'm doing trading post business since 20 plus years. So yeah, that's a little bit the explanation about this, and it's interesting how much impact a movie can have that's released when it is made, well made, and well meant, and made in a good fashion, in a good way. I don't think that this will pop up again with any movie that's doing, because of the structure that was back then, and it's how it is now with all the streaming platforms and so ever. So that I don't know if a movie will ever reach so many people again. But it's interesting, and when I get these questions, then I notice that there are not so many people anymore that know of the 1990s. That we have a younger generation that is not familiar with what happened back then. As I said, I found it stunning, and I still know how to handle this. Where to find items, for example, for my own business. So make good movies. Bye.